Homer, I can't see. Homer, where are you? Here I am. I, I can't see you. Your dreams of power are over, Homer. His blood type was the same as Kettering, but not the same as Igor's. It won't feed the sensory nerves. Homer, you played me a trick. What good is a brain without eyes to see? What good is a brain without eyes to see? Hi, welcome to Trepacer Saturday Reviews, episode 99, I believe. Man, it's going to be the 100th episode pretty soon, next week. So, maybe let's do something different for that. Anyway, I have two movies that I watched today. Okay, and first was Boyhood, and the second one was Fort Apache, the Bronx. Not Fort Apache, the Bronx. Fort Apache, the John Ford movie with John Wayne and Henry Fonda. But I'm going to talk about Boyhood first. Okay, this movie came out last year, and I heard a lot of good things about this movie, but I didn't get a chance to see it at the theaters. And this was, of course, written and directed by Richard Linklater. And he did this over a period of 12 years, and basically it's the story of a life of a young guy named Mason from the age of 5 to 18. 12. It was 12 years basically they filmed. And the unique thing about it is that they actually filmed with the same actors, same 4 actors. The guy who plays, young actor who plays Mason, played by Elmer Coltrane. They had Patricia Arquette and Ethan Hawke, who played the parents. And you also had the daughter of Richard Linklater. She played the sister. And she played Samantha. Okay, and like I said, it's basically the story of these 4 people. And you have Mason, who's the young guy, the young son, and then you have Samantha, who's the young daughter, and then you have Mom, played by Patricia Arquette, and then you have Ethan Hawke, who plays the father, okay, and there's in the beginning of the movie, of course, they're separate, they're divorced, and the mother is living, by herself with the 2 kids, and basically it's the story. This whole movie is basically experiences that happen in their lives throughout the course of 12 years, and you have all kinds of things of them moving. Father spending time, of course, being divorced, they're spending time with him on the weekends, and it takes you basically through all the, the friendships, the separation, the arguments. They even get. I think there's even the part where the mother gets remarried, and they, having a stepfather, the mother goes back to school. Basically, 12 years in the life, the boyhood of this young guy named Mason, and I really enjoyed the movie because it was basically, there was no special plot to it. I mean, it was just things that would normally happen in a separated family. And, the thing, the mother being remarried, father getting a new job, spending time with his kids, every other weekend, and experiences of the kid growing up, getting his first girlfriend, getting picked on, the bullies, and just basically his life. And it was a unique experience. And like I said, they filmed it over 12 years. And I watched the behind the scenes stuff in there, and Richard Linklater talked about having that idea, of doing it, wanting to do it, way back then, and then he also, had that problem of, you have to cast, different actors as, to play grown-up versions of, and he thought it would be better, just to have film one, with one person, of course, of 12 years, and it actually works for this movie. It's just a slice of life, basically, is what it is, and it's natural, it's interesting, and like I said, you go through the trials and tribulations of this boy, him moving in, being a stepson to a new, father, and going to school, meeting a girl, and growing up, and spending time with his father, and experiences with his mother, and it's a really unique tale, and it's very interesting to watch. Like I said, nothing special happens; just basically ordinary life that happens in this movie, which makes it, interesting and unique and fun to watch to me. Okay, like so, there was no real overlonging plot or anything. It was just basically life and things that happen, and it was really interesting to watch, and I really enjoyed it. And I can see now why everybody was raving about it, because it's basically this a slice of this boy's 12 years out of his life. And like I said, the unique thing is they followed him and the daughter, as they were growing up, 12 years out of their life, and which made it unique, and it made it interesting. Okay, and it was never boring to me. It was interesting and fun to watch, and just, it's life, and it's just was interesting to watch. So I'm going to give Boyhood an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely would recommend it. And I can see why people had high praise for it, because it's a unique filming experience, with us having the same actor, from one point, to another point. But it was interesting to watch, and I thought everybody gave good performances in it, and it was very interesting to watch, and I can't recommend it enough. Okay, 8 out of 10 for me for Boyhood. Okay, now the next movie that I'm going to watch, that I watched today, actually is a movie I did see before. Okay, I seen this a few years ago. This is Fort Apache. Came out in 1948, starring John Wayne and Henry Fonda, Shirley Temple, and John Edgar in this. And this is directed by John Ford. Now, John Ford did I guess what could be considered, a trilogy of westerns. He did Fort Apache. I think it was Tie Yellow Ribbon and Rio Bravo. I think that's Rio Bravo. I think that's the other movie in the John Ford Western trilogy. Okay, and this is the first movie. Basically, it takes place at a place, Fort Apache, where basically Henry Fonda's character, he's new to the base. He gets sent out there after the Civil War, and he plays Lieutenant Colonel Owen Thursday. He comes there with his daughter, Philadelphia Thursday, played by Shirley Temple. Okay, he comes there and he thinks of it as a being at this remote post. He thinks this is a come down for him. After he served honorably in the war, he thinks this is a come down, and he doesn't really want to be there, but he's going to make the best of it as he can. He's basically looking for glory. Okay, and John Wayne plays the captain, Captain Kirby York, who's been there a while, an Army veteran as well. Okay, and you also have a few other notable John Ford characters that he normally has in his movie. You had Ward Bond, and you got Victor McLaughlin. You have they all play, basically, stock characters in this, and it basically takes you through the life of things that happen at Fort Apache. The everyday life, training the men, and you have that little romance between. There's a fresh young lieutenant there, played by John Edgar. He plays a fresh lieutenant there, who's like the son of the sergeant major, Mike O'Rourke, and he's he of course he gets instantly smitten with Shirley Temple's character, Philadelphia Thursday, and again at the same time you have the old commander who's getting ready to leave, who's also a friend of Henry Fonda's character, and at the same time you have this incident with the Apaches, where the Apaches have broken their the treaty, and they've gone to Mexico, and basically John Wayne's character tells Henry Fonda's character, listen, I can bring them back if I go to talk to the chief. I can persuade him if we're going to be sincere. If we go unarmed, I can convince them to come back and go back to the reservation. Okay, and the reason that the Indians left is because they were getting mistreated at the reservation and being taken advantage of. Okay, and so John Wayne goes out and he makes the promise, but of course Henry Fonda's character is looking for glory. So basically he decides that he's gonna bring the Indians back under force. Okay, even though they're getting outnumbered by the Indians, he said he's gonna bring them back by force, which starts a disastrous chain of events. And this is a really good Western. Like I said, it shows in the beginning of it, like the basically things that happen at the Fort Apache, and Henry Fonda's character is like a real mud, he really by the book, and like I say, he's looking at this, he thinks he's been basically designed to this post, and he's going to try to retain some of his former glory by bringing the Indians to heel, basically. And John Wayne is the veteran there, and he's basically trying to persuade him not to do this, that this is suicide to do this, but of course he won't be deterred. Okay, and then also at the same time, like I said, he's trying to prevent this Lieutenant O'Rourke from romancing his daughter at the same time. And I enjoy this Western. It's a nice Western, John Ford. Okay, like I said, nice slice of life I'll show you the back there. You have John Agar and Shirley Temple, who's actually, they were married in real life. I didn't realize that until I read it later, that they were actually married in real life for, when they filmed this movie. And I thought they had a nice chemistry too. And like I said, Henry Fonda, I thought he was great as the uptight Colonel Owen Thursday. He's trying to reclaim some of his former glory, even if he has to kill everybody to get it done. And then, of course, you have John Wayne, who's playing the voice of reason, who tries to persuade the colonel, lieutenant colonel, not to go on this suicide mission. Okay, and I enjoyed this western. Fort Apache was really good, and I'm gonna give Fort Apache I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Okay, I thought it was really good, very well done. Okay, and great performances by the cast. Okay, and it's a nice little western, and definitely I recommend it. Okay, I'm gonna give Fort Apache again a 7.5. Okay, and then again the other movie, A Boyhood. I really like this movie. 8 out of 10. Like I said, it's basically the story of this boy from his ages 5 to 18, and the 12 years in between. And they actually filmed it with the same actors, the same 4 core actors over a period of 12 years. They filmed every year. As the kid was growing up, and you see the changes throughout the kid as he's growing older and stuff, which is interesting to watch. And it's basically the story of things that happen in his life, and it's really interesting to watch. And it's a nice piece of filmmaking to me by Richard Linklater. It just really, it kept my interest, and it kept me entertained, and I thought it was really well done. Okay, so an 8 out of 10 for Boyhood for me. Anyway, let me know if you've seen these movies. What do you think of them? Okay, feel free to leave comments down below. And this is Trepacer saying so long, and take care.